Alright guys, what is going on? Welcome back to another video on the self-developed YouTube channel. You beautiful people, hopefully you guys are having an amazing day. Wherever you are in this world, comment below. Where are you from? What time is it? Hashtag self-developed army. Let's get it going, guys. It's definitely getting a little bit later here. It was a sunny day, now it's overcast, but yeah, we're gonna bang out a video regardless. I know it's a little darker, but enjoy the moody vibes. Let's go, guys. We have our green tea way over here. Let's go in a self-developed mug, which quite a few of you have actually picked up, so shoutouts to you guys. Anyways, in today's video, guys, I believe I titled it The Cure to Anxiety/Depression. Now, I know what some of you may be thinking, David, anxiety and depression are two complete different things. They can correlate, and definitely one can, cascade into the other, but generally speaking, anxiety and depression are on two complete different spectrums, right? Now, I'll be honest, initially I was just going to make this video the cure to depression, and then in a different video, the cure to anxiety, but the answers are completely diametrically opposed, but they both work together synergistically, and if you can do one, you can then, by default, do the other. So let's start with depression. I like this one, okay? And I'll explain why. Now, depression, all it is, guys, in its simplest forms, is depression of energy. So you have to understand in the forms of expression and depression, okay? Anxiety is kind of, for lack of better terms, this over-expression, this over-stimulation, this over-thinking, doing, just... It's an Energizer bunny. It's too much, okay? Think of like the positive side to the battery. It's just crazy, we'll say. Where depression is what? It's the exact opposite, right? Alcohol is a depressant. Do you understand? They're stimulants and they're depressants, right? So they go hand in hand. Alcohol being a depressant, caffeine being a stimulant. Do you understand? So the cure to depression is to do what? Express. Now, I'm not saying go drink caffeine or become an Energizer bunny. No. But what you guys need to understand in its simplest forms, and this is rooted with both the cure to depression and with anxiety, is that your emotion follows your motion, right? So how you feel, whether that's very low or very jittery, follows what you do. Now, the answer or the cure is completely different with both spectrums, but the results will follow. The reason you are depressed is because your action is what? Depressing. You're not doing anything. You're sitting at home, you're probably just watching a bit of Netflix, lazy, just eating food, maybe watching PORN, playing video games, not doing much, right? So with our action, what are we doing? Our action is depressed, and therefore our emotion follows that. Our emotion or depression will follow. So what to do here, guys, is to do the exact opposite. When you are feeling sad, I'm not saying ignore it. I'm not saying brush it off. I'm not saying pretend it's not there. It's to accept it, to see it for what it is, but then to still deliberately express, to change your action, to go to the gym, to go for that walk, to start that podcast, to be productive, to take little baby steps. Now, I'll be completely honest, yesterday was a pretty fucking low day for me, man, and the last thing I really wanted to do was jump on the computer, edit, film videos. I was vlogging that day, go to the gym, etc., etc. But I realized, guys, regardless of your emotions, sometimes you just need to stick to the battle plan. Do you understand? You need to stick to what is going to be most resourceful for you, even though it's not the easiest. So I was like, fuck it, man. Even though I wasn't feeling the best, start small, right? Make your bed, do some work on the computer, right? Get the ball rolling, go to the gym, film a video. It ended up being a much, much better day than it could have been. I'm not saying it was the best day, but it was a damn good day, and that's because even though the depressed energy was there, right, I still expressed the energy. Do you understand? So the negative side of the battery needs the positive side of the equation. Okay, now let's flip it to anxiety. Okay, and if you guys see me look at the screen, I don't have my big screen today because the light is dipping and I need to bang this out quick. Now, anxiety, I deal with both. We will all deal with both, all right? It's okay. Anxiety is too much. Do you understand? Now, how do we know this? Well, usually men or people who are anxious, maybe at a job interview or before meeting a girl, what do, right? What do we do when we're anxious? We're usually very jittery, we're tapping our leg, our hand, we're pacing back and forth, we're thinking, we're ruminating. It's too much. It's a leakage of energy. Both are a leakage of energy, but anxiety, it's much more prevalent. Do you understand? So what do we need to do? Based on this logic and theory, what do you guys think? We need to calm down our actions. It all comes back to actions because anxiety, depression, anything internal with our thoughts, in and of itself will be very hard to control. You can't control your thoughts. If I'm feeling depressed one day, there's really nothing I can tell myself to get me super happy and giddy and going. And if I'm anxious on the flip end, there's very little I can tell myself to calm me down. Do you understand? Albert Einstein, he made this quote where you cannot solve a problem from the same place it was created from, right? So what we do is, because a lot of these thoughts or anxieties, depressions were created through our mind, we fix it using our body, right? So as you know, anxiety is an overstimulation, right? It's too much. So on a practical level as well, this is why you should be careful of taking anything that is going to exacerbate that stimulants, right? I've cut back my caffeine intake quite drastically because I was realizing I was beating a dead horse. The thing I needed was the opposite. I needed a more calm action approach. But what I was doing was I was taking more stimulants, without knowing, and I was getting more anxious. I was pacing around even more. Your thoughts go crazy. It's one and the same thing. What we need to do, right, just like the positive side of the battery, is now come to the negative. To slow down, to not always need to react. And in fact, just before this video, there was a little bit of a situation, or really it's an internal rumination. My mind was kind of going crazy. I wanted to fix the situation, and I noticed the second I got up, I was about to leave the house, try to go fix it out of fear, and I stopped myself. I was like, dude, not every situation, not every thought needs a reaction. Do you understand? Do you see what I'm doing, how I'm making it worse? By continuously, right, moving around and scarcefully just moving things and doing things and trying to get things done, you're making your anxiety way worse. You're perpetuating the loop because, like I said, your emotion follows your motion. How you feel, your anxiety follows what you do. So if my doing is, I gotta fix this and this and this, and what if this, I gotta prepare for this and this, and it's everything, right? That's your motion. Well, then what's your emotion? The same thing. Right? It's a rumination. It's, well, yeah, it is going to happen. So what I need to do is, when I see these thoughts, this is what meditation is. When I see these thoughts, I'm not saying, guys, that when there are situations or problems, you never act. Of course you act at times, but when the time is right. And a lot of times with anxiety, we are acting out of fear. It doesn't need a reaction. Do you understand? Like, just because someone says a mean word to you doesn't mean you need to flip out. Do you understand? A lot of times the best thing to do is to just see it, ignore it, and walk away. Right? That's a small example, but can you imagine if, like, every single person that gave you a funny look that you anticipate as being a funny look, right? Maybe that's just how they stare. But can you imagine, because this is essentially what was happening, what I was doing, every person that gives you a funny look or a perceived funny look, this is anxiety, you completely go to them, get out of your chair and say, don't look at me that way. Do you know how much energy that fucking wastes? And do you know how unresourceful that is? So what I'm saying is, when they give you that perceived funny look, to see it for what it is and try to just let it go. Practice it. Try to just let it roll over your shoulders. Because what eventually happens is two things. Number one, your anxiety begins to diminish because your action is diminishing. It's calm. It's grounded. It'll fix itself. And that's exactly what fucking happens. 90% of times, guys, situations fix themselves organically because they didn't need a reaction in the first place. What I am realizing is that when I just stop, I breathe, I see the trigger, right? They're triggers. Whatever the triggers are for you, I see them for what they are, right? Awareness in and of itself is transformative. I see it, I breathe, and I let it go. I really am telling you guys, it fixes itself. I would say 80 to 90% of times it fixes itself because you come back to logic, you come back to rationale, you come back to the middle of the battery. You see, guys, at the end of the day, what this video I'm saying is we want to be in the middle of this battery, right? We don't want to be too far negative where we are depressed, right? We're not moving, we're unmotivated, we're completely lying down playing video games doing nothing, because believe me, that is then how you will feel. That's what you're doing. Right? And we don't want to be too far forward positive where we are overreacting. Do you understand? We are overstimulated. We are doing too much, or what's the quote? We are doing too much activity opposed to action. Action is right in the middle. It's grounded. It's not depressed. It's not anxious. It's calm. It's neutral. Neutral, right? And through being neutral, you will be able to take the best, really just resourceful actions. You'll just be the most resourceful, period, guys. Not everything in life requires you to do something. Not everything in life requires you to feel something. Guys, right? And I know I'm kind of going on a tangent here, but they say there's the king, warrior, magician, lover, right? Now, the magician is associated with thinking. I'm thinking too much, being anxious. The lover is associated with feeling. Well, I feel triggered. I feel like he looked at me wrong. Where the warrior is associated with doing. Well, he looked at me wrong. I have to fix it. The epitome of all of them is the king. The king thrones. He sits. He is calm. He decides. He waits. Do you understand? And from that beautiful grounded place, he can then make the most resourceful situation. Is that to act? Is that to think? Is that to feel? Maybe it's none of them. All right? But if you're being completely overthrown by the negative, which is depression, or the plus, which is anxiety, then you're unresourceful to everybody. So guys, that is it. That is the end of this video. Bit of a short one, not too crazy. That's it. I hope you guys enjoy this. This is something that I have really been going through tremendously the past year. I went through it a fuck ton yesterday, and it inspired this video because I can see just how polarizing these two emotions are and how frequent we will go through with them if we continuously allow them to, guys. At the end of the day, what I'm saying is, you can't necessarily choose what happens to you, but you can choose how you respond. Buddy, this is not easy. Believe me, if I've been on one spectrum this entire year, time I've been in the condo, it's been over positive. It's been stupid anxious. It's been fixing and reacting to everything. And that is why a big reason I have caused more of these situations, because that energy is lingering within me because I am keeping it around. I got to see these problems, right, that I'm perceiving and just try to sit with them, right? Let them naturally resolve themselves. And if they don't, if the king decides, yes, it's time to fix it, then you can take action. And on the flip end, if you were depressed, then I need you to do the opposite. I need you to forcefully, voluntarily get up and start small. Even though you don't feel like it, eventually what will happen is the momentum will build and the depression will leave. Right? You will naturally have emotions of motivation, of, I got this, you know what? Let's build, let's compound, and then you will become neutral right in the middle. All right, guys, that is it. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, comment, and subscribe. I will finish it here with the final plugs. If you guys are interested and would like to work with me on a personal level, you guys know the flex. There is one-on-one coaching. Spots are open. We have group coaching, which is the workshop, guys. You can check the one in February coming up quite soon, guys. The workshop is 4 one-hour live stream calls with myself, a small group of men, a private Facebook group. I do it once a month, and you guys can learn more about it down below. I would love to have you. Finally, we have the self-development course, which is passive online, over 3 hours long. You guys have been loving it. The course teaches you everything on improving your fitness, nutrition, intermittent fasting, no-fat, meditation, cold showers, increasing your masculinity, finding your passions, turning them into a business, and improving your relationships. You can go download the free half-an-hour version below if interested, and you can support Edge, guys. This is their black cutoff tank. Let's go, baby. About to go for a walk. That is another side tip. Walking is great because it allows you to become more neutral, right? Because walking is the most neutral thing possible. You're not overly anxious running, pacing around, but you're not sitting still, lying on your bed. Neutral. That's why a lot of times your best thoughts, emotions, and ideas come through just walking. Because it's peaceful, it's calm, it's calibrated, it's neutral in the middle. Do you understand? And that is why I walk so often, to make sure I'm staying as grounded and calm as I can. Rational, right? Because depression and anxiety will turn you very irrational. That is it, guys. Thank you so much. Have an amazing day. I love you all. I will check you in the next video. With that said, much love. Peace.